In December 2012, television screens across the world carried the news of yet another horrifying gang rape in Delhi, the capital of the world as it has come to be known. And this time, it was 23-year-old medical student Jyoti Singh who had been gang raped by 6 men on a moving bus. I've just completed a documentary film about her story. And this film is about to go out across the world in 7 countries simultaneously on the 8th of March, which is International Women's Day. So I'm basically at the end of this really long and extremely harrowing journey. And I'm also at the end of my patience as a woman, waiting to be accorded equal value to men, waiting to see an end to this gender-based violence, and waiting to see just laws enacted that recognize women as autonomous and worthy of respect. But I'm at the beginning of a journey of hope. Hope that we are finally on the cusp of change. Hope that the time is now when the world will fully address the question of gender equality. What compelled me to go on this journey and leave my young family, children, for 2 years while I made this film in India? It wasn't so much the horror of the rape itself as the inspiring and extraordinary protests that erupted across the streets of India's cities in response to this rape. And I knew I had to give everything I had to amplify these determined, these hopeful voices that cried, enough is enough. So as you see and can recall, there was something absolutely momentous about these protests. Unprecedented numbers of ordinary men and women out on the streets, day after day, for over a month, demanding this long overdue conversation. And as you saw, they were braving that December freeze, that ferocious government crackdown for my rights as a woman. And it occurred to me, that India was leading the world by example in these protests. I can't recall in my lifetime another country that has actually done that. So in gratitude to these protesters, I suppose, I gathered my family together and asked their permission to leave them. I told my youngest child, my daughter Maya, 13 years old at the time, that if she needed me, I would stay. But I needed her also to understand that if I didn't go, I would hardly be able to look myself in the mirror again. So I set off on this journey, and my focus was narrow at the start. I was looking at rape, just rape. And I was asking the question, why? Why do men rape? And why does violent rape happen with such alarming regularity? I knew that to get a meaningful answer to the question I'd set off with, I had to go to the source of the action. And I managed to get access to film interviews with convicted rapists in Tihar jail, and amongst them were the rapists of Jyoti Singh. Now, what I learned from these rapists, the deep insight that I got, was that my original question was the wrong one. The answer to my question didn't lie with these rapists themselves, but in a wider sphere, in the patriarchal society and culture which seeds and, I believe, encourages these hate-filled acts.
लड़कियों के लिए बनाया गया घर काम काज अपना घर बार देखे ये थोड़ा रात में डिस्को में घूम रही है बारों में घूम रही है गलत हरकतें कर रहे हैं जरा ऐसे कपड़े पहन के घूम रहे हैं हर कोई शरीफ लड़की होती है रात को 9 बजे मतलब नहीं घूमती है लड़के भी उतने उससे ज़्यादा जिम्मेदार है रेप के लिए ये लड़के हैं उससे ज़्यादा तो आपको 10-20% ये जो सही मिलेंगे
My encounter with these rapists left me feeling as though my soul had been dipped in tar and that there were no cleaning agents in the world that could get rid of that indelible stain. But perhaps even more shocking than the complete self-justification and absolute lack of remorse that these rapists showed were the statements made by their defense lawyers, so-called educated men. Can we please now hear what Emil Sharma has to say?
Women's means I immediately put the sex in his eyes. We have the best culture. In our culture, there is no place for a woman.
Just to make sure that you don't make the mistake of thinking that this is just the lone barking of only one rabid dog, let me tell you what the other defense lawyer in the case, A.P. Singh, had to say, and I'll quote this one for you. If my daughter disgraced herself, and by the way, the context here, disgraced herself means, went out to a movie in the evening with a male friend. If my daughter disgraced herself, I would take her to my farmhouse, and in front of my whole family, I would pour petrol on her and set her alight. The truth is, what chilled and depressed me most was my realization that these rapists were not the monsters the media had prepared me for. On the contrary, they were ordinary, apparently normal, and certainly unremarkable men. Now, the details of Jyoti's rape, the pulling out of intestines with bare hands, had led me to expect deranged psychopaths. And I tell you, it would have been so much easier to process this heinous crime if they had been just monsters, just bad apples in a barrel, aberrants of nature. You know, perhaps then, those of us who believe in capital punishment, or that it serves a purpose, and I'm not one of them, would wring their hands with relief when these men are hanged. But for me, their hanging may well mask the real problem, which is that it is us. It is our society and our shared culture of attitudes towards women that is responsible for these men and for their actions. These men are not the disease. These men are the symptoms. These offenses against women are a part of the story, but the real story begins when a woman, a girl, is less welcome than a boy when she's born. When sweets are distributed at the birth of a boy, not of a girl. When a boy is given more nourishment than a girl. When a girl is sent as a domestic slave to her husband's home. You see, if a woman is of no value, if a woman is worth less than a man, then it stands to reason there are going to be men who believe they can do what they want with her. Gender inequality is the problem, and gender equality is the solution, and the only one. Gender inequality is the primary cancer, and rape, trafficking, honor killings, child marriage, acid attacks, these are all the spread. These are the metastases of that cancer. When you look into the blackest recesses of the human heart, as I had to do, you obviously get profoundly depressed and disappointed. And I remember waking up one morning on the shoot, 5 a.m., I was wet from head to toe, I was bathed in sweat and fear, and my heart was just knocking against my ribcage. It was a panic attack. And I phoned home thinking my husband would answer, but my young daughter Maya answered the phone, and she immediately sensed I was in trouble. And I told her through my tears and my shivering panic, Maya, I've decided to come home. I can't do this. This is too big for me. This is a mountain too high for me to scale. And Maya answered very simply and very calmly and said, Mummy, you can't come home because I and my generation of girls is relying on you. Now, the truth is, they're relying on us. They're relying on all of us, and we must not fail them. So as I move forward now with the campaign that this film was designed to unleash, with hope on my new and hopeful journey, I extend my heart and my hands to you. And I ask you, please join in this change and be agents of it, because we can do it together, hand in hand. Thank you. And now I would like to leave you with the trailer for the film. Thank you.
We have the best culture. In our culture, there is no place for a woman.
The brutal gang rape of a 23-year-old girl on her way home from a movie triggered an awakening that took many by surprise.
The first two who've been arrested produced in court this afternoon.
The girl is now on a ventilator, battling for life. Apart from Ram Singh and his brother Mukesh, who was driving the bus, 4 other men have been detained.
The juvenile accused among the 6 arrested for the gang rape and torture.
According to the latest government figures, 1 woman is now raped in India every 20 minutes.
ज्योति सोती थी तो आँख खींचती थी, तब कहती मम्मी मम्मी।
ताली कभी एक हाथ से नहीं बजती, दोनों हाथों से बजती है। अगर कोई शरीफ लड़की होती है रात को 9 बजे मतलब नहीं घूमती। जितनी 15-20 मिनट गाड़ी चली है, मैंने चलाई थी। लाइटें बंद कर दी थी उन्होंने। भाई था मैं, जिस लड़के को मारा था जाके वो सीटों के बीच में छुप गया बस। लड़की चिल्ला रही है बचाओ बचाओ, भाई की आ रही थी गाड़ी मत रोक, चलाता रहिए। भाई को फिर मारपीट के पीछे ले गए, हाथ आ जा रहे थे बारी बारी से ही, जुनैल और राम सिंह। बाकी बाद में अक्षय वगैरह ये सब गए थे। जुनैल ने कपड़ा निकालने के चक्कर में उसने हाथ डाला, कुछ ऐसी चीज थी अंदर से लंबी लंबी सी निकली थी, अतड़िया ही थी कुछ। उन्होंने बोला मर गई, इसे फेंको जल्दी नीचे। ये
The lady, on the other hand, we can say the girl or woman, are more precious than a gem, than a diamond. It is up to you how you want to keep that diamond in your hand. If you put your diamond on the street, certainly the dog will take it out. You can't stop.
एक ही कलमदाना के मेरे बेटा को भगवान ने जब बुढ़ापा का सहारा बनया था, हमने मजूरियां कर करके उन्हें बड़ा कर दिया। हमारे बुढ़ापा की लाठी थी, सब संसार यही अपने बुढ़ापा के लिए करते नहीं, और तो कुछ दिया नहीं, उठा के खंदा पे जला देगा, उसको हमने देखा जलाते। आखिरी बार जब हम उसको हॉस्पिटल में मिले, उसने हाथ में हमारा हाथ लेके चूमा और बोला कि सॉरी मम्मी, हमने आपको बहुत तकलीफ दिया, आई एम सॉरी। जो आवाज़ आ रही थी सांस लेने के तो लिए, तो वो बंद होने लगी। ऐसे टेढ़े टेढ़े जो चलते हैं वो सीधा होने लगा।